Okay. Let us start the September 23rd meeting of the Urban Design Commission. Please silence your cell phones, and I will call roll. George McQuistion here. Brian Fitzsimmons. Betsy Brunstetter. Donna Cervantes. Jorge Charnico.
Here.
Matt Guillory. Here. John Robeson. Here. Ben Sellers. Here. Jeff Struble. Okay, we have quorum. The first item is approval of the minutes. And first, thank you to John Robeson for allowing himself to be drafted as chair last meeting. If there are no objections, we will consider the minutes approved by unanimous consent and move on to the consent docket, item 5A. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Charnico and Robeson, all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, that motion is approved. And I would like to, because Brian is not here today and was intimately involved with this project, if we could just, in fact, we ask staff to request Brian next time he's at the Horseshoe to give us an informational presentation, just because it's a pretty exciting project. We would, I'm sure, all appreciate that. Okay, item 6A, cases for individual consideration. 1734 Northwest 16th Street. Michael?
Okay, this is an application for a project in the Plaza District at 1734 Northwest 16th Street. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Empire Slice House, and adjacent to the west of that building is an existing outdoor patio that was approved with the original certificate of approval on this project. And they do have some sort of a temporary kind of a cover that's over that patio area at this point in time, but they've come in with a request to build something a little bit more permanent, although it's not completely permanent. It's composed of a metal roof with some fabric sides and metal doors, as you can see in your packet. And we've done an evaluation of this proposal as we prepared for you in the staff report. And we do have some reservations about the proposal, as we described in Section D of the staff report, and basically laid out our concerns to the Commission in that section of the report. But in conclusion, we've arrived at the recommendation that we feel that we can support the application, provided it is handled as a temporary facility, and that the initial period for the approval would be limited to a maximum of 3 years, with the provision that the applicant could return to the Commission with a request to continue that for an additional 2 years. I think basically what we're concerned about is that most of the buildings up and down 16th Street, this part of the Plaza District, are brick and mortar, storefront glass, and this is clearly not compatible with that, and that's just not consistent with the guideline we cited in the staff report. And so as a result, we're supportive of the request, but with some caveats with the condition of approval. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions from the Commission.
Are there any questions for Michael from the Commissioners? Are the applicants all right with that condition? Okay. And any questions for the applicants?
Do we have a time limit? It's 3 years total? Is that right?
3 years initial with a 2-year extension possibly.
I just wish this looked better. And I think the applicant knows what I'm talking about. One of the fun things about being to go to Empire Slice and being in that tent is you really do feel like you're outside, and this is going to not look like a tent. I don't know, it kind of sets a funny precedence for that street. I don't know if anybody else feels that way.
Hi, I'm Amy Apatone, and I'm applicant with Suite 16. I think, just to kind of answer that, Betsy, is that this is an opportunity for, because the restaurant is so successful, and the seating for the patio is really important for Empire, and this is just an opportunity to, during the cold months, give people a place to eat without a temporary tent that has been there. This is certainly not our long-term plan, and we're not totally sure what we're going to do in regards to developing that further. But this is more of just a heat. It's a weatherizing opportunity, really, honestly, for a patio. And so that's why the doors and things can open up to the elements, and we want it to have that feel. The business owner, that's their whole desire, is to have that feel that it is open to the elements. But then when there are those times that it is too cold, but they need the business to be able to sit out and utilize the patio, an opportunity to close it and weatherize it in a way.
I wonder if there would be some way to make it more open. The roof structure's not what, that on those days that are nice to make it more open, because that really is one of the attractions to sitting out there. And I've actually been there in extremely cold weather and not been too cold. Mm-hmm. And it was packed. Right. So, heard the other day it was a 2-hour wait for dinner.
Dave's going to speak to that a little bit.
In terms of the openness, the clear plastic panels are operable. They roll up. So on good days, basically, you'd have a wainscot of the black fabric, and you'd have an open area, then you'd have the transom overhead in the dark fabric.
So it's actually fabric?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you mind, I'm sorry, but because of the video, would you mind stating your name to the microphone?
Yes. David Ledbetter, and the address is 400 Northwest 23rd Street, and I made the application on behalf of Steve Mason.
Thank you.
What are the glazed areas? Are those just a film?
It's a clear fabric, and we have a sample that we've submitted.
Any other questions or comments?
Is the 3 years really the time frame, or do you have intentions to do something sooner? That just seems like a long time.
Hey guys, Rachel Cope, one of the owners at Empire Slice House. To speak on that question, the first term of our lease is actually up in 3 years, so we'd be up for renegotiating that for our options anyway at that point, which is why I think we arrived at that as our time frame. As far as what the structure is, for how large the space is, what it would cost us to build what is typically accepted in the area is a lot. We're young. We want to do the best that we can for the community and ourselves, which is why we've tried to make it where it can open, and instead of a single door, there are double doors. And where there are those panels, you can take those off. The tent has been helpful, but also a nightmare at times. When it rains, it's not flush to the ground. There's no way to make it that way. So if you've ever sat out there when it is raining, your feet are wet. We spend a lot of time trying to keep water off that as well. This will allow us to give our guests a better experience and help our staff really focus on serving those people instead of being responsible for things they shouldn't be responsible for. As far as patio and being open to the street, I love our street. And it's also why we added the front patio on our space. So there's about 14 tables or 12 tables out front, where if that's really an experience you're looking for, you could also get that full experience of being completely open out front as well. So I hope I answered both of those questions.
So are the clear doors plastic, or are they glass?
The doors on the front will be, I think what we're going for is the a canvas bottom, as you can see there, and then sort of like either a porthole, clear window on that. But my hope is to really have those open most of the time.
But that's,
It's like a canvas acrylic thing like at Cheevers or La Baguette.
They passed a sample of it around.
I saw it, but I was just talking about the doors in particular.
Yeah, you will be able to see out of the doors in some way, shape, or form. There will be a clear plastic window in the door.
And the fabric's going to be black?
That's correct.
What's the life expectancy of that material?
Can you speak to that? Yeah, Dave's saying that Cheevers has had theirs for about 12 years. I also used to work at Cafe Nova for some time. This is almost a very similar structure to what they had, if you remember that, on 42nd and Western. It's recently been updated since
So
they've
it's
changed.
just the little vestibule that,
On the
that
side
they use?
patio, it used to be black canvas.
oh, I'm not familiar with.
Okay. It used to be black canvas, which is exactly what we're looking at here. If you've seen that restaurant, heck, I was there for 3 years. I know that was there for longer than that, and never had any issues. So.
Pardon me?
Ready for a motion?
If someone would like to make a motion?
Move for approval as submitted with the 3-year time limit, 2 years allowed for an extension.
Second.
Could we have just a clarifying question, Michael, on this one? When you said I see. And just the extension request would come back to the UDC for review. So, Donna, I just want to make sure that that was part of your motion, that with the extension is within our purview after our review.
As
Is that your
written,
understanding?
with
Okay.
one extension that would come back to commission for review.
Okay, we have a motion by Cervantes, second by Guillory. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Thank you very much. Okay, item 6B, 1709 Northwest 16th Street.
This is a request at 1709 Northwest 16th, also in the Plaza District, to basically replace an existing mural that is on the east-facing wall of the front of this building. And it's at the DNA Galleries. And as I mentioned, this is a picture of the existing mural that's there. Is that the existing one? Yeah. And it's on the east-facing wall of the front of the building. You can see an overall view of the area. This red building is the galleries, and the mural would go on this short side wall that's at the front of the building. Here's a mock-up of the proposed mural that would replace the existing one. And that gives you an idea of what they're requesting. So this is just another in the series of a number of murals that are being proposed in the Plaza District, and we've recommended approval to the Commission.
And this was on Arts Commission Monday, Dylan, and were there any comments?
My name's Dylan Bradway, 1709 Northwest 16th. There was an approval or recommendation for approval by the Arts Commission on Monday.
Is there a time proposed for this?
I mean, I'd like to think it would stay up during the course of our stay in that building, but again, it's up to the tenants and the building owner to approve any further murals. So,
How long has the current mural been there?
we did that. Gosh, and that was not an approved mural. That was just kind of before we knew about all the things we really needed to do, we did that to promote the district, and I believe that's been up for about 4 years, 4 to 5 years. And that wall is starting, there's the black little area down there on the left is like a tile that somebody threw up there as kind of a street art random thing that came up, and we aim to clean that off and prep the wall.
Okay.
Any other questions? Motions? Motion by Brenstetter for approval. Do we have a second? Second by Sellers. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, no other business. Communications 8A. Michael?
Yes, we have a few administrative approvals to report on to the commission. First two deal with the Boykin residents on 7th Street. One was an extension to the original CA because they aren't quite finished with the building at this point in time. The second change, which is actually number 1 on your agenda, is to extend a metal material that was originally approved with the building to extend from the 2nd floor up to the west elevation of the 3rd floor to provide a windscreen for the roof terrace on that house. Item 3 is a revision to the self-storage building on Villa to alter the configuration and amount of landscaping in the project. And then number 4 is to install some clear story windows on the rear of the building at the 1745 Northwest 16th, which is part of the project that was involved with the mural project last agenda.
The clear story is to kind of activate that space.
Yeah, I believe that they are, Mr. Mason is creating separate lease spaces at the back of the building that would be accessible from the rear, and so there's need to provide some light to those areas.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, thank you. Comments from planning staff? Would you mind, because the video of the BOA meeting is not up, would you mind giving everyone a quick summary of what happened there?
Yes, George is referring to the appeal of the 6th and Francis project. A neighboring property appealed the UDC's decision, and that was heard 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the Commission's decision was sustained, so the appeal was not successful, and last we heard the aggrieved party was not going to appeal it any further. It was a pretty long meeting, 2 hours. Well, the meeting was like 5 hours, but that case was at least 2 hours. There was a lot of evidence presented about various midtown planning efforts, which didn't really bear on the case at hand. So, yeah, it was sustained.
Okay.
And there is a meeting video, it's usually uploaded by this time that you can watch, but it hasn't been uploaded yet. And when it is, it is on the, okay.
Okay, thank you.
On the Public Meeting Records Board of Adjustment.
Any other comments or any questions about that? Any other comments by planning staff? No? Any comments from commission members? No, I'll just say that John did an excellent job last meeting. Thank you very much. And next meeting date's in the agenda. If there is no objection, we'll consider ourselves adjourned by unanimous consent. Oh, wait, Don, did you have something?
Just a comment that consent docket that was not heard? Oh, the consent docket wasn't voted on?
It was voted on.
Oh, okay. Boy, that was...
We try to run a pretty fast meeting here. Don't blank or you might miss something. But we want Brian, when he's next here, to walk us through
That's what I heard.
Yes.
So I was thinking we were going to have to see it again. I don't want him to have to reprint those. I was going to turn them back in, but if we aren't going to need them, then...
Oh, that's a great point. We should all hold on to those.
Or turn them back in.
Or remember to bring them next time.
Any of the above. We won't reprint them for the next presentation. How's that?
Do
Okay,
you want them
excellent.
back? It's all I'm asking.
Paula, I don't think so. They have a header and footer on them that are specific to this meeting date, and that's why it's difficult to reuse them.
Okay. Okay, well.
Put it in your car.
All right, well, thank you.
Okay, so we are adjourned. Thank you very much.